Tonight on the MTN News, off limits.
The site that is currently closed is not managed by Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks.
The closure of a popular fishing spot angering some anglers.
Also, Viva La Fiesta.
It's important that, we all remember where we came from, and it's beautiful when people bring that to the forefront.
A new exhibit showcasing the rich history of popular Southside Hispanic festivals.
And getting ready for the games.
When you love something so much, you make the time for it.
Look at the volunteers who help make the Special Olympics so special.
The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us on your Monday. I'm Andrea Lutz.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. A popular spot for casting lines near Columbus and Reed Point has been cut off. And that's not sitting well with local anglers.
That's right. BNSF reeled in public access, citing trespassing and safety concerns. The move, of course, comes after the 2023 bridge collapse right here that sent all of those train cars tumbling into the Yellowstone River, spilling asphalt and raising those safety concerns.
MTN's Marcus Kakova takes us down to the river where the railroad and state agencies are trying to build a bridge to compromise.
For those who live along it, the Yellowstone River's water carries a long history of meaning in its currents.
The Yellowstone is such a lifeblood for a lot of communities along its banks.
It's a connection felt by people like Chris Fleck, a board member with the Fishing Outfitters Association of Montana.
You hear the lapping of the water on the shore. It's just kind of a rejuvenating feeling. To me, it's symbolic of life.
Chris has spent nearly 25 years fishing these banks, including one spot in particular, the Twin Bridges access site. The same area tied to a bridge collapse and train derailment nearly 2 years ago.
All of a sudden, the closure barrier was put up here with no information that I know of or I'm aware of that was posted or submitted to the public.
BNSF's recent move to close off the site has sparked backlash online, with many questioning the loss of what they thought was public access.
The site that is currently closed is not managed by Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks.
I reached out to BNSF about the closure. No one was willing to speak on camera. The railroad did, however, send a statement about the closure, explaining that there was a prior public easement to a public road, but it wasn't maintained, adding, BNSF employees have observed unsafe trespass activity on its property in the area, so we posted barriers and signs in an attempt to eliminate the trespassing. Chris believes the closure may be tied to lingering cleanup, left behind after the 2023 derailment.
It might be coincidental that there is a large chunk of metal debris that still sits underneath the bridge that was not cleaned up as part of the bridge derailment 2 years ago this June, that perhaps there was some concern about the public safety with that.
BNSF says it's now working with state agencies on a potential lease to formalize public access. In the meantime, FWP is pointing anglers to other options, including fishing access up and downstream from the closure. Marcus Kakova, MTN News.
Billings leaders tonight will begin trying to tackle a potential budget problem.
Yeah, it comes after lawmakers delivered property tax relief for Montanans, but Billings leaders say these measures will have unintended consequences for the state's largest city to the tune of an $8.5 million budget hole. Now, the issue comes down to Billings City Charter, which limits the number of property tax mills the city can levy.
Well, now the city could be looking at a massive budget shortfall where critical public safety positions are on the line. We caught up with City Council member Scott Aspenleiter earlier today.
We have not come to a consensus, and candidly, I don't think we will come to a large consensus on this. There's a broad range of opinions about what could and should be done, and it's going to be a long negotiation and discussion with council to determine what's in the best interest of our community.
No decisions are being made at tonight's City Council work session, but council is getting directive about the impacts the change will have and what the options are going forward.
A Wyoming mother facing charges of furnishing guns to her felon son, who later shot to death a Sheridan police officer, claims the government is withholding evidence that could show he stole the guns from her. That's according to the Cowboy State Daily. Officer Nevada Krinky was shot to death last year by William Lowry. Lowry's mother, Eileen Hurley, was indicted this past January on 4 felonies for allegedly giving 3 guns she bought to Lowry, who was later killed by police following a standoff. Hurley's defense attorney alleges in a filing that material evidence about how Lowry obtained approximately 14 other guns that he's suspected of getting from other people is being withheld, which could help Hurley prepare her defense.
We are learning new details tonight about the 7 people killed in a deadly collision just outside of Yellowstone National Park. Idaho State Police say 5 Chinese tourists and an Italian tourist were among the 7 people who died. 14 people were inside that van with the driver licensed out of California. The names and ages of those killed in that van have not been released. The driver of the truck has been identified as a 25-year-old man from Texas. The fiery collision happened just before 7:15 Thursday on U.S. Highway 20 near Henry's Lake.
Well, let's turn our attention to the weather now. Some big changes to start the week.
Most of us have been getting some of that rain, even snow in parts of the state. A look out at the Magic City on this Monday, where we have seen rain off and on.
Let's check in with meteorologist Jason Stiff for a first look at the forecast. Jason?
Well, if you had plans on heading over toward Bozeman, hold on a little bit. Look how much snow that we have on I-90 right now. You can see that these commercial vehicles having a very difficult time, and there's been a closure of I-90 from mile marker 338 all the way to 319, a 21-mile closure from just east of Livingston all the way toward Bozeman Pass because all the lanes being blocked by commercial vehicles. A lot of low visibility, heavy areas of snow. Visibility in Livingston itself right now is down to 1 mile, and you can see why. That stretch from Livingston all the way to Bozeman, that's all snow heading up over the Bozeman Pass. Other areas of rain and snow falling right now. Our 7-day forecast with all the differences coming up.
The Special Olympics Summer Games kick off in Billings in just 10 days. The athletes, of course, bring the games to life, creating moments that last a lifetime. But these games could not be what they are without the help of volunteers. Tonight, our Hannah Pettiferi introduces us to one making the games a reality for more than 2 decades.
When you love something so much, you make the time for it.
At just 15 years old, Amanda Minchu began volunteering for the Special Olympics. Now, 23 years later, that love is still very much alive. Amanda began volunteering because of her sister Amber, who was involved in the games when she was in school.
To be able to see the joy on my sister's face and doing it with my family.
The games have even created little-known travel opportunities, including Germany for the World Games in 2023 and Italy for the Special Olympics Winter Games in March, all as a delegation assistant for Team Namibia.
It was such a beautiful experience.
All of the experiences creating memories with the athletes that she once took for granted.
We got to take them to see snow for the first time.
Something not everyone gets the chance to see.
How cool for them to be able to experience something they would never get to otherwise.
Amanda, also a unified partner, participating in the games to foster a sense of teamwork and friendship.
Getting my first gold medal with an athlete was the coolest thing ever.
That came to life yesterday at Billings Par 3 golf course. Several athletes put their games to the test. Nice. From putting and chipping challenges to the driving range, these athletes battled it out for the first place ribbon.
Here it is! Here it is!
Later in the day, athletes played a round of golf. Amanda teaming up with Nick to switch off hitting the ball.
I like doing the whole golf thing.
Volunteers, friends, and family out to show their support for all of the athletes.
Just to see the involvement from the community and the support and people stepping up and treating our athletes like they should be treated, just like anybody else.
Serving over 3,000 athletes in Montana, these volunteers don't go unnoticed. In Billings, Hannah Pettiferi, MTN News.
The games will run from May 14th through the 16th with nearly 1,000 athletes coming to town, and we'll have several stories leading up to this year's Special Olympics.
On this Cinco de Mayo, a celebration of Mexican heritage. And to take it all in, a new exhibit at the Western Heritage Center spotlights Billings' rich Hispanic ties to the Mexican fiesta. It all started with two brothers wanting to know a little bit more about their own heritage, and it turned into hundreds of stories across the community. Our Isabel Spartz takes us there.
If it wasn't for the fiesta, I probably would not be as in touch with my cultural roots as I am now.
Our heritage helps shape who we are.
You have little Joe here, and then you have, my Uncle Bill Contreras here.
For brothers Tony and Dallas Contreras, it was the Billings Mexican Fiesta that had a hand in it.
The fiesta is a very nostalgic thing for me because, again, my family has been a part of it since the beginning.
Fiesta was the first stage I ever got an opportunity to perform on.
The Viva La Fiesta exhibit at the Western Heritage Center helps tell that story. The Fiesta is a long-standing tradition shaping the South Side. First as a fundraiser for a new Our Lady of Guadalupe church and a chance for migrant farmers to share their culture.
That's really how the Fiesta got started is, they needed a place to call their own.
We can present like, hey, you guys like food? We love food. Let's show you our food. You guys like music? We love music. Let's show you our music.
As co-chairs now, the Contreras brothers have deep ties. For the 70th anniversary, they knew it needed to be special, turning to the Heritage Center into a look back through history. What they found was more than they anticipated.
We were like, no, we need to showcase this and show it to as many people as possible because it's such an amazing thing.
They collected hundreds of personal recollections, photos, memorabilia, all telling the stories of dancers, musicians, cars, all weaved by the same thread.
That was probably one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. And that's the thing is it started off as something so small. I never realized how big of an impact the Fiesta had on the community.
The exhibit is now a beautiful celebration of Hispanic culture, but the brothers know there's much more out there.
Brought a lot of people forward. They'd look at a picture and say, oh, that's my grandma. Like, I didn't know she was involved with the Fiesta.
Much like the title says, the stories will continue to live on for years to come.
It brought me a lot of pride. You know what I mean? Like such a small group of people, and because of their faith and their fortitude, look at what it became.
I feel like Tony and I have taken on that responsibility to help continue that push, to continue that momentum that they had the passion for and help give us that passion.
In Billings, Isabel Spartz, MTN News.